Welcome back. Let's find out if we've gotten anything wrong so far. For that, we go to TV's Andy Levy. Hey, Andy.
Hey, Greg. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for asking.
Sure. Hey, Bob.
Yeah.
How are you?
Andy, fine. Good, fine, man.
Excellent. You said the police in Oakland were overreacting. Oakland Mayor Kwan seems to agree with you. She's now distancing herself from what the police did Tuesday night. She says she was away in Washington when it all went down.
Yeah. Well, does that mean she probably came and learned something, didn't it, Andy?
Yeah,
I mean, I think that police tend to overreact in things like this. You know why? Because these are protesters who are against the establishment, and the police are there to protect the establishment, like our host. I mean, why would you protect him, first of all?
Those police officers are trying to do their job. They don't want to lose their jobs.
Well,
Doing something stupid.
Yeah, here's the thing. I mean, Bob, I don't think it's fair to just say, oh, the police are pigs and.
I'm not suggesting they're pigs. I used to call them pigs. I was a lot younger then. Now I call them
fascists.
Police. No. But this story about how all the crimes got up in New York because they've had their best cops down at Wall Street, and then everybody around who hates the Wall Street people says, oh, they're just a bunch of punks and drunks and homeless people. Why do you need 3,000 of your best cops to protect yourself then?
Well, I think you need them to protect them from themselves, Bob.
Oh, I see. Okay, thanks, Andy. That clears it up for me right
Absolutely.
there.
Yep, you got it.
Thank you.
Joe, you said a lot of people are trying to get behind the protests, but they're starting to become annoying, and you're starting to feel like Han Solo, like, hey, I'm not in this for your rebellion, I'm in it for the money.
Right.
Yeah. Other than showing off your geek cred, what does that mean?
I took my reference too far, first of all.
You did,
I
yeah.
should have stopped it after I'm not in this for your rebellion.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just, my geek. I just got all excited. And I wanted to finish the whole quote.
You did. No, it was good TV watching you get excited about that.
Yeah, well, the fun part was watching Greg's face go to more confused.
Yes.
The money part.
Yeah. I was a little surprised, Greg, that you did not bring up Star Trek after that, though.
Well, there's still time left in the show, Andy.
Yeah. No, I thought Greg was going to. Greg likes to say Star Trek when it's Star Wars.
Because they're both basically the same thing.
Oh, stop it.
They are.
You said that last time I was on.
They both take place in outer space.
No, we're gonna stop down the show and start over.
All right.
Yeah, we can't have that.
By the way, that Star Trek, Star Wars line got the most emotion out of you I think I've ever seen in my entire life.
Well,
that's a sad case.
You called me a racist, and I just laughed.
Yeah, just sort of like, oh, you. You start talking about Captain Kirk. This table's going down.
Hey, Bob, you mentioned that Frank Zappa would have made a great presidential candidate. He was pretty libertarian, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was libertarian, but he had a good liberal streak to him. Libertarians begin as liberals, and then they get caught by the thought police, and then they fall over to where Greg is. But Zappa, we used to call him from his basement. He was serious. I was being very serious, and he wanted to run for president, and we talked about it, and he wants to help people who need help. It's what government's there for.
Who was his big enemy? Who was his #1 enemy? Al Gore.
Well,
Al
Gore's virtually everybody's #1 enemy. So what's the difference there? But Andy, it boils down to this: you're either somebody who cares about people who need help, and you're a liberal, or you're Greg.
No, well, that's not fair.
No, it is fair.
It's not fair at all. Conservatives care and libertarians care about other people needing help. They just don't think the government is the means to do it.
And who should do it then?
You know what, Bob? Only
Churches, charities, private, people doing it.
Oh yeah, private people doing it. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, since the Wall Street people have all the money and they've done it to us as an, why should we expect that they should help out people who need help, Andy?
Also, I have to correct you on what you said. A lot of libertarians were liberals. I know I was. And then what happens is you come to realize that economic freedom is a necessary condition to have personal freedom.
Andy, could you shut up, please?
I could, but I won't, because it's my show.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. I apologize.
All right. Joe, you said cops are public servants, and you told a story about how if you were a public servant working at McDonald's, you would do whatever. But you wouldn't be a public servant if you were working at McDonald's.
Right.
How is that not public service?
Well, it's a private business.
Well, but it's customer service to the public. It's the
customer
same
service. Is a public servant is someone who works for a government organization.
Andy, we can go back and forth.
We can, and at the end,
all day long.
And at the end, it'll be just like at the beginning. You'll be wrong. We can do this the hard way or the easy way,
Would
Joe.
you define what you do as public service or customer service?
I would define what I do as a load of crap.
Okay, that's good. Then we agree.
Yes.
That's
and I am right.
Zappa's campaign.
Yep.
Oh, come on.
Bill, how do you compare the occupiers to the Tea Partiers when it comes to the whole getting arrested and stuff like that?
I said a few people got arrested, for sure. A few people in the Tea Party were birthers. The liberal media wanted to make it bigger, and the conservative media wants to make the instances of violence bigger. That was why.
Hundreds of people have gotten arrested
Thousands,
at the occupiers.
actually.
Yeah, it probably is thousands. Yeah, actually, you're right. It is thousands.
There were numbers that said that the birther movement was as much as 40%.
Really? That's your comparison?
In the Tea Party.
I mean, look, I'm on the record. I think the Tea Partiers and the occupiers have a lot of the same anger.
I agree.
But I don't think you can't, in terms of getting arrested and doing things like that, you can't compare them.
I'm talking about violent arrest. That's what I was talking about. We weren't talking about people being arrested. We were talking about people being violent, by the way.
It's very tough to get up out of wheelchairs and off canes to cause a lot of trouble, too, Andy.
Well, and that's fine, but was there how much violence was there at Tea Party rallies?
Well, most of them are 85 years old waiting for tea times, so not that much.
No, it's a different kind. So it was a Tea Party TEE.
I don't want to go too much farther. I just saw them the tea people because I've gotten in trouble calling them names.
You have.
I have.
Them and a lot of other people.
That's true.
Yes.
Including that monkey.
Yes, we're gonna get to that. By the way, what's with the kitchen staff at Zuccotti Park? They're pissed about serving the homeless. I thought is it not the 99%? Is it like it's the 98%?
Yeah. They're waging their own class warfare on
really
somebody
are.
less fortunate than
I don't
they
like
are.
it. They're not being inclusive.
Yeah.
It's not cool. By the way, the Richmond Tea Party is demanding a refund of about $10,000 from the city because it charged them to have rallies, but it's allowed the Occupy protesters to use the same space over several weeks for free.
Interesting.
I thought that was an interesting little fact. Obama says it's not as trendy to like him as it was 3 years ago. Greg, you said if President Obama, somebody needs a hug.
Yes.
Just a note to our viewers, the Secret Service advises against trying to do that.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. I learned the hard way with Gerald Ford.
Yeah, and yes.
Well, if you hadn't brought Squeaky Fromm with you to the party, it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
She needed a place to stay at the time, Bob, and see, I do care.
Yeah, you do care about any broad that's walking around the street that needs a place to stay. I understand that. I'll get in trouble for that one.
Nah, you're okay with that one.
No, thanks.
Laura, you said President Obama had nothing good to say about himself. I actually don't think that's true. Earlier in the speech, he did talk about things that he'd accomplished over the past 3 years.
Sure, but he also said that it was a trend and it was trendy to be liking him, and I think it was a lot of hype. And I think he agrees.
Okay.
Would you say we should believe the hype or don't?
Don't.
Okay.
So you're saying he should be impeached?
Yes, that's exactly
You don't
what
want
I'm saying.
to impeach one of the greatest presidents we've had.
Oh, boy.
Is that what you just did?
Yeah.
It was down twinkles.
I see. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Bob, is it true you once had a monkey that you bought when you were stoned?
I did. I really did. And it ripped up my apartment and it ripped up my neighbor's apartment. And we had to euthanize it.
Oh, that's a sad ending.
Greg, you used the Rocky movies as an analogy for Obama, but here's the thing. Rocky 2, still a huge hit, and Rocky 4 made more money than the original. So are you saying Obama is going to be a 4-term president?
I think so.
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
I'd also like credit for lighting the fuse to your analogy.
Yeah, I would say it was good. And you used a metaphor there.
Yes.
With the fuse thing, as though this were a bomb. Interesting.
Lastly, Americans love guns. Bob, you said people who support gun rights should go to a few funerals of people who died because of guns. I would like people who don't support gun rights to go to a few funerals of people who died because they didn't have a gun.
That's a good shot, Andy, but it doesn't work. I'll explain it why. Because there's people who have guns in their homes that don't lock them up, that the kids pick them up and they kill themselves.
Yeah, here's some other fun gun stats, Bob. In the 80s and 90s, Americans were killed by others with guns at a rate of about 5.66 per 100,000 people. In the last decade, that rate's fallen 28%, even as firearm sales have skyrocketed, and so have concealed carry permits.
If we had no handguns, there would be a lot fewer, wouldn't there?
But it seems, oddly, the more people that have guns, the fewer people are dying from gun
That's
crimes.
not true in places like England or France and places where they're banned, Andy.
Well, we started talking about America. Now you're shifting the debate.
We wanted to go. I'm sorry. I just wanted to go to some other civilized places and talk about banning handguns and people don't die.
There are no other civilized places. There's only America.
Review time.
Sure. Let's walk out here to Times Square to prove that point.
I have to go.
All right, Andy. See you later. All right. Bob, you got to go.
I had a question for Andy, though.
What did you want to... he's gone.
I thought they asked me to come up with a question for Andy.
Oh, that's his post-game, but you're not going to be around.
So can I ask him now?
No, he's gone.
Well, what I was going to say is, Andy, who do you think should take the place of Greg if he were off this show because he was sick? And I was going to say Andy.
Oh, that's nice.
Thanks for nothing, Bob.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, don't get me wrong. I mean, anyway, it's been a real pleasure, as usual.
What a great camera angle that was. All right, so what's next, everyone? Why don't I tell you? What's Bill Schultz doing at the Museum of Morbid Anatomy? Why is anybody anywhere is the real question. Think about that, people.